morning, gentlemen. मैं हूँ आपका दोस्त मदन सिंह, and I'm going to talk to you about the 13th day of the battle between Iran and the other countries. So it's a very serious situation at the moment, and you all must be wondering what's happening. Well, as a military strategist, I will tell you that the battle is going against Iran. There's no doubt about it, but Iran is fighting hard, and that's very, very dangerous. It shows a desperation like it had come in the Nazi Party during World War II when Hitler refused to give in despite being defeated. In fact, if you remember, in 1944, the Germans knew they were going to be defeated, but they kept on fighting for another year till finally Hitler shot himself dead. And that appears to be the situation here. The son of the Ayatollah, who's now taken over, is threatening a war which will be last to a perpetual time. And Donald Trump has just made a statement that today, that is the 13th day and the 14th day, Iran is going to get such terrible havoc that they won't know what the hell has happened to them. So we have to see what has happened. But the Iranians have recently, I believe, shot down a KC-135 air tanker over Iraq, and 6 of the aircrew have been killed. It's a very sad situation. And of course, as far as Iran is concerned, their navy is destroyed completely, the air force destroyed completely, the Revolutionary Guard, demoralized, the top leadership killed, but they have plenty of drones and they're using them. They've used them in the attack on Dubai and hit one of the high-rise buildings there. They have attacked the source of water, desalination plants in Bahrain. Water, as you know, is the lifeline of the Middle East, and once you strike water, it's a very dangerous proposition. So the question is, what's going to happen next, gentlemen? Iran, in my view, has lost the war. There's no doubt about it. But they are lingering along and not going to surrender. So I have a feeling that they would like some respite, and that is why they have made a proposal to the Americans for a ceasefire. And what does the ceasefire proposal says? It says, have a ceasefire, number one, give us reparations, number two, no future attack, so that we can rebuild ourselves. Now, it's easier said than done, because what the Iranians are doing is they're buying time. And today, if the Americans and the GCC allies and Israel, they agree to the ceasefire, that will be the end of their countries. Iran will get breathing space, redevelop the atomic weapons, and even the delivery weapons, they will use it, and maybe they will strike even the Americans next time. So this is the time, and Donald Trump is very right, that it's the time to finish off the Islamic regime. I wouldn't say it's an Islamic regime, actually it's a terrorist regime. You can't think of anything else about a regime which goes around killing its own people, And there's so many of the young girls being just executed for not wearing the hijab. Now, if this man who's the Khomeini, if he's a man of God, then I think I would beg to differ. He's not the man of God, he's nothing. He's a simple terrorist and needs to be wiped out. Now, the point is, who made this proposal and from where it has come? It's possible it would come from India, but I'm not very certain about it. The Iranians would have approached the Indians for this. And India must really beware. I was going through a recent interview by Karthik Gore, who's one of the famous astrologers who settled in Dubai. And he said, last 2 days, Trump has made 2 statements, and that is, I don't want to destroy the career of Narendra Modi. He said it twice. So Narendra Modi must well understand that Donald Trump is not really happy, and neither are the GCC countries, because there's been no condemnation of Iran, and I couldn't understand why the Indians are not able to do it. So India is probably playing a double game. It's a very dangerous situation. You can't play with fire and then say that fire is not going to burn you, it's going to singe you, it's going to charge you, it's going to be a very terrible situation. So, gentlemen, this is what I want to tell you. The 13th day of the battle is on, and it's a very heavy bombing continuing of Tehran and other places in the Middle East. The atomic bomb sites have been bombed to ruins. I don't think they'll be able to launch anything, but they do have a lot of mobile launchers. They have the drones still, and they are using them with deadly effect. And they have had their success also. They have closed the Strait of Hormuz. Now, that's something which I think must have taken the Americans and even Donald Trump by surprise. Because once you have blocked up the Strait of Hormuz, you have blocked up all the GCC countries. They can't get supplies, food, milk, everything which should go from Pakistan and India there. You can't sell it. And they can't even sell their oil. So that is something which has to be factored. And the only factor is that you will have to destroy Iran. The Americans, I do not know what is their plan. But obviously, Donald Trump is a very shrewd man. There are a lot of opposition, of course, against him, even in America. I think the New York Times has just published a statement that Donald Trump should have a ceasefire. Now, there's something silly. As a military historian, I'll tell you it's not worth having a ceasefire with the terrorist regime, which has fomented terrorism by sporing terrorist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah. The Israelis are putting in a great show, fighting, but they are receiving the brunt of the rocket attacks. And things which never happened before happened. Tel Aviv has been bombed. Haifa has been hit by rockets and drones. Dubai has been hit. But of course, thankfully, it's not much of damage at the moment. But what I understand from people like Karthik Bohr who are staying there, the life is continuing as normal. The flights are continuing. Everything is continuing as normal. At least they are trying to restore normalcy. But we'll have to see what happens further. And everything, of course, depends on the Americans. Iran has now realized that it's at the end of the road, but they're desperate. China hasn't come in this boat. It hasn't opened it's not even done a meow, like a cat. It's just keeping silent. And what if the Russians done nothing? So they know fighting the Americans is not an easy thing. America's got a tremendous firepower, weaponry. And Donald Trump has said today that he will go to use such weapons which the Iranians have no idea. I only hope he doesn't use a tactical nuclear device, but that will be very disastrous for Iran. But it's important to capture the Ayatollah, like the Americans had gone and captured President Maduro of Venezuela. He was captured when he was sleeping in his bed, And I think something similar should be planned here. I don't know whether the Americans have got that plan, but it's important that the Middle East countries are allowed to survive and grow. And that is the important thing which we must remember. Unfortunately, the Middle East has all along been dependent on Israel and America for defense. They haven't built up their forces, and the Arabs don't have a tradition of fighting. I think the old days when Salahuddin used to lead the Arab armies to battle are over. And the Iranians, of course, have all been good fighters. And one can remember the famous battle at 1761, the third battle of Panipat, where Ahmad Shah Abdali, who came all the way from Iran and decimated the Marathas. 100,000 Marathas died that day. So I'm bringing out this point from the fact that the Iranian regime is not going to give up easily. That is what I say. They are fighters, unlike the Arabs, which are not. And they are saying they are fighting for Islam, with a lot of bull. I don't think they are fighting for Islam, because I think the Ayatollahs and all have given a different interpretation to Islam. Islam is a wonderful religion. I have studied in detail, but unfortunately the Iranians have corrupted that thing. Now as it stands, I think the heavy bombing is continuing. Iranian Navy has ceased to exist. So has the Iranian Air Force. The top leadership of the Republican Guard and the army has been wiped out. They've all been killed, but yet they're fighting. It's the same way like Hitler fought till the last bullet, till there's nothing left and he shot himself dead. I think we shouldn't allow that situation to come, and the Ayatollah shouldn't be allowed to run away. I think he should be captured, made to pay for his crimes. I don't know what's going to happen. The world is standing against Iran. Even China and Russia have not come in this sport. The only man I think who's come to a little bit of sport is Mr. Narendra Modi. I don't know what's his game, frankly. I mean, he only can explain. I remember Jaishankar is from my own school, He's the foreign minister. He was pretty senior to me, and he was a house captain. But he's a good man. And he's leading the foreign ministry. I thought he would give proper advice to Mr. Modi, and I hope he will do it, because you cannot live in the water and fight the alligator. I think as the crocodile. The Americans have got tremendous power. Look at the way they have used it. They've got laser weapons. And with that, they have just wiped out the Iranian Air Force. There's not a single aircraft which is operational in Iran. But yet the Iranian regime is not surrendering. They have the people, at the point of the bayonet, the gun, and the Revolutionary Guard has already killed 2,000 Iranians. And recently there was a news that some of the people which they considered were traitors were hanged publicly in Tehran in front of the others. I mean, if a regime which goes around hanging people publicly, I don't know how the world can allow that regime to continue. So, gentlemen, it's a very, very dicey situation, I will say. I hope you like this short video of mine. I request you to please subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends. I'm very glad that I've crossed almost over 1 million views. That's something, because I'm not a professional, mind you. There are a lot of professional correspondents, editors, and all who've been in the field for 40 years. I've been an Air Force officer all the time and then in the corporate sector, so I have nothing to do with this. But like to bring my military acumen and the fact that I hold a postgraduate degree in military science from Madras University to give you an idea as to how the battle is going. The battle is going against Iran, but they're not surrendering. I don't think they're going to surrender. That looks likely to me. So what's going to happen next? The next is more retribution of by the Americans on the Iranian people. I feel very sad. Anyway, gentlemen, I'll say goodbye. Jai Hind. God bless.